So before I get into this review, I just have one thing to say. Hawkeye, I am so sorry. For years, I have been making fun of you, thinking you were the worst Avenger, and you proved me wrong. I am very sorry. Please do not shoot me. You actually have character development now. I actually care about you. You're a good guy, and you're a valuable member of the Avengers. No, that's not even sarcasm. I'm telling the truth. Good job, Hawkeye. I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong, and Hawkeye, for years I was wrong about you, but now you are awesome. Avengers Age of Ultron is the next installment in the very popular Marvel franchise and the sequel to 2012's Avengers. Is it as good as Avengers? Is it another great installment of the Marvel franchise? Well, we'll find out. First, we'll take a look at some of the positives, because there's plenty of positives in this movie. There's great moments. Every Marvel movie has those like 2 or 3 moments that casual movie fans and big comic book fans just go, yes, that is exactly what we want. And this movie has a lot of those scenes. They're just awesome. You get giddy watching them. There's some great action involved. What I liked about this one, that was basically like a further development of what we saw in the first one, was some connections, some cooperation, some teamwork. We'll go with teamwork. Some teamwork when it comes to fighting in the movie itself, as opposed to just one person duking it out. I'm actually referring to Captain America and Thor. They did a lot of good damage together as a duo. They really finished each other's combos off with them dishing out the shield and playing off that. Having those two pair up from time to time while still being part of an overall team showed for really good dynamics. This has really new and interesting dynamics in the team, but it shows a natural evolution of the team as a whole. They're not the same characters that they were when we first saw them in Avengers. It's a natural progression. They're a much more cohesive unit than we saw them. The first one was all about them getting together. This one is all about can they stay together as a good unit. And it's a good progression. But I think by far the best parts of this movie come from the new characters. We have several. We have the new big bad guy, Ultron, and we got some new characters. One of them I'm not sure if I could talk about, because he's in the trailers, but I don't know if you guys have seen them. So I'll just refer to him as V. V by far is the coolest character in this movie. Without going into too much spoiler details, you'll want to catch and keep an eye out for this guy. He's by far the best. The twins, they're in the trailers, they're everywhere. That's not really big spoiler territory to say that these two are in this movie. And they're very interesting characters, and I like them a lot. My only gripe with the twins is they have these weird Russian accents, but it doesn't take me out so much. They're just okay accents, but they're really great characters that I can overlook these bad accents because they're that engaging to watch. There were, however, some downsides to the movie, and more so than I actually expected, but that doesn't mean this movie was bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's still a very good movie. I felt like this movie actually was a bit too much of a setup for future movies. There's certain scenes and moments that feel very forced in order to give you information for the future that don't really fit into the context of the movie. It's hard to go into without going into too much spoiler territory, so I'll probably do a spoiler-filled review of this movie. But for the time being, without delving too much into details, there were certain moments that kind of took me out of it because I knew for a fact that this was blatantly saying, hey, this is going to be very important later. You're going to really want to remember this. And that's kind of been Marvel's MO up to this point, but it's flowed throughout the stories. It never felt forced. At times, this did feel a bit forced in the movie. Also, while I and numerous other comic book fans know what's going on and can see what stuff's going to happen, a lot of people that watch this movie may get confused because they don't know the comics. This movie, more so than Avengers, relies on you knowing the source material. It can get very confusing. I saw this with someone, and they found it a bit confusing when I talked to them afterwards. Even I myself is like, if I didn't know the source material, I would be a little lost. I'm filling in the gaps myself because I know this character or this moment, or I know how this is supposed to play out. It can get a bit confusing, and I would have liked to see it a little bit more spelled out for the general audience. Also, without dipping too much into spoiler territory, 2 characters in this movie have a bit of a romance, and I didn't think it was really needed. Like, I'm okay with romance being in an action movie or a superhero movie, as long as it feels like it should be there, it feels natural. This one felt like it just kind of was there because it had to be there for some reason or another. It wasn't bad, it was just okay, but if the movie didn't have that in there, it would be not different whatsoever. It was just kind of there, like a lot of other things. It was just kind of there. Lastly, this movie relied too much on the novelty of seeing the Avengers together. We have awesome slow-mo shots of them, like working as a cohesive unit and fighting off the bad guys, and just awesome moments of them being together. But it didn't have that resonance that we had the first time we saw it. We're just like, yeah, that's cool, and yeah, I clapped and cheered, but considerably less than I did that first time. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, we've seen this. Next! And I know it's so harsh to demand being these comic book fans, but we've kind of gotten used to it by now. We've seen them together. We've seen them work together as a cohesive unit. It was awesome sometimes seeing them together, but other times it was like, yeah, we've seen this. Can you step it up a little bit? Now, all this negativity makes it sound like I didn't enjoy the movie. I actually really did. Just not as much as I did of the first Avengers. I really, really liked the first Avengers. This is a good, but not really that great movie. It's definitely up there. It's not nearly as bad as Iron Man 2. No, nothing's that bad. It's good. It's good. I enjoyed it very much. I'll probably see it one more time in theaters and then just wait for it to come on Blu-ray. That sounds so cold, but maybe I'm just expecting too much out of Marvel. But it was still good. I'd just much rather watch Winter Soldier again. I actually like that one more than I like this one. Well, overall, I will give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. Good action, good character development from what we saw in the first movie with some great hero shots and some great individual moments. But a lot of setup for future movies and a lot of confusing parts for non-comic book people and other elements of this film made it just kind of, okay, it's watchable, see it in theaters, in my mind. What do you guys think? Am I absolutely insane? What did you guys think about the movie? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and you want to see more, subscribe to the channel or find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 17 Movie Reviews. Stay sharp, movie guys and gals.